Hi and welcome to another video. Today we are going to an unusual castle this time, and we're going to visit Halton Castle. So let's go and take a look. Okay, so here we are at Halton Castle. Now, Halton Castle for me is a bit of a forgotten castle. It's not governed by the, English heritage. And what you can see here is effectively a pub now. And the castle is actually behind it, and you can see bits of it to the left and to the right. And we'll go in behind there in a moment, but first we'll go round the outside so you can see, get a feel of roughly how big it was. It did have a gatehouse, and the gatehouse once stood where this sort of pub is now located. The gatehouse was demolished along with a lot of other castles in the UK, and was replaced with this in 1580. And what this used to be, the castle basically got turned into a prison, and this was a courthouse, and it was a courthouse for Catholic recusants. I think I've said that right. And Catholic recusants is a whole different story. I don't want to go into that sort of detail. If you want to look into that, just search for that and you'll see what they were, but it was just a bit ridiculous. But in those days it was, obviously quite important to them. But anyway, so it got demolished and was a courthouse, and the castle was a prison. Halton Castle was a motte and bailey castle, and what that essentially means is a motte and bailey castle is a fortification which can be either wooden or stone, and it's usually built on a raised area ground called a motte, hence being a motte and bailey castle, and it's usually accompanied by a walled courtyard or bailey surrounded by a ditch to protect it from any marauding invaders. So construction sort of started in 1071, and it used to be a wooden construction like most castles, and the wooden structure was gradually replaced with sandstone rock, as you'll see, and that took a few hundred years up into basically the 13th century, where it became a castle. You can see here there clearly used to be some sort of doorway, which is no longer there, obviously, and been bricked in, and you can see the seams here where it's been filled in, which is interesting in itself. I'm not sure what that was, but it was something at one point. Might have been a window. So I think we're quite high up here. I don't think this is the base of the castle where we're standing on here. Around here there are some folly walls, what they call folly walls, which are walls that were built just to give you a sense of what it used to be like, rather than the actual walls themselves. But these red walls are the main walls, really. And super chunky. So I'm currently walking around the outside of the castle wall here, and again you can see we have an amazing view. So we are currently looking, I believe we're looking north. There's an old power station there, which I don't think is currently in use. We have Liverpool over towards our left, and Manchester way off in the distance, which you can't see from here, obviously to the right. The castle wasn't occupied by anybody of sort of national nobility or real importance although it did go through a lot of different hands. It played a part between the parliamentarians and the royalist war. It was quite a strategic location because of the import-export up the Mersey, up and down the Mersey to Ireland, and even Cheshire in the time with their big castle sort of like tried to stop that from happening. But Halton Castle and Halton Runcorn in particular was allowed and continued to export or import from Ireland. Okay, now we're moving behind the pub. If you like, I've gone through the pub and we're standing actually where the castle was. And this area here is what they call the Bailey area. In 2015 and in 2017, this area, the Bailey, was excavated by archaeologists. And I found this. This is an article written by Archaeology, Dr. Mike Neville and co, I guess. You can see the credit goes fully to them. In 2015, they found 2 skeletons. One was male and one was female, and they were buried 2 meters apart. But what's even more intriguing, because when they found them in 2015, they wanted to go back and see if they could discover more and get more information on them, because the male was dated, it was carbon dated to the period of 1425 to 1470, so that's quite a long time ago, 600 years ago. And the later female, and remember these were buried 2 meters apart, was radiocarbon dated to 1520 to 1665. Even that's quite a big gap, but still, you know, it's quite interesting. I find that really intriguing. And there is a place where I can go and see the male. I'm not sure if the female is there. It says archaeology that summarizes what we know about these burials, blah 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 blah, and the earlier skeleton is now on display at Norton Priory Museum there. So I'm going to go and look at that, and I'll make a separate video based on that, and I'll link back to this one so you can see the context it's in. But some of these pictures are really intriguing in this article. You can see here they found lots of bits of pottery, lots of little objects, coin, all sorts of bits and pieces that dated back to medieval times, and that is just really fascinating. I'm going to dig into it a bit more. When I go to Norton Priory, I'll look at the skeleton and give you some more information on it. But you can see they found circular holes chipped out of the bedrock here, and you can see the bedrock here. You can see why the castle was built on this stuff, because it would have been a really sturdy base high up basically. And you can see lots of circular holes like that, where potentially posts were put into the ground. They also found additional walls that crossed the Bailey at various points, and I think you can see that up here potentially. Lots of different sort of wall structures that would have separated areas within the Bailey here. So it's all really interesting. It's a really interesting place, and it just saddens me that it's not got a lot more respect. If it was controlled by English Heritage, for example, you know, they would take care of it a lot better than this. But I'm not sure if it's worthy of a visit, because there's not much here to actually see anymore. But it's just really fascinating from a historical and archaeological point of view. And these here, after the castle's not used as a castle anymore, it was used as a prison, and these here are where the cells used to be. I can't imagine for the life of me being in one of those. I guess this used to be like seat high, because that would not have been. I mean, this was much lower, I think, when it was a castle. And these are just seats. where they would sit or lie, I guess, and that would be much lower. You can see a lot of the rocks still on the ground here when they demolished it. There's another one, and another one. Here's another room. I'm not quite sure what this used to be, but you can see the wall surrounds it here. There's something on the floor here. There's no markings on it or anything, so you can't really tell what it is or what it was used for. Some of the old stones there, and they were demolished. So this part here used to be an interior section just beyond there, that bush. Highest point, you can see for miles around, miles and miles around. There's a new bridge over there, going across the Mersey, all the way around Liverpool in that direction, over where the sun is. One thing that really pees me off when I see things like this is like graffiti on really ancient buildings like this. It's like people got no respect whatsoever. That used to be a window, across the window there, and another one over here perhaps, and another one over here. You can see these big red stones, and you'll see them when the castle was demolished. People used to steal the stones and build things from them, houses, walls, and I'll show you some examples of that in a minute. All around the area you'll see this stone being used for various things. Quite a big castle in terms of we've been to much smaller castles in this, so this is not a bad size, pretty medium size I would say. And you can see the different types of stone here. But this is obviously new and been added to support it so it doesn't fall down. And this is the Odo rock here, the Odo stone. That is original, I guess. And underneath it's been sort of supported. I guess over time it'll weather in, but it means that these ruins will stay here. Which is pretty cool. The castle overlooks the River Mersey. You can see the bridges below that reach across it, and the river once formed a natural border between the kingdoms of Mercia to the south and Northumbria to the north, ultimately becoming a flashpoint in the war between the Saxons and the Vikings. And legend has it that Ethelflaed, daughter of Alfred the Great, came to this area and set up a burh in 915. We're not sure where that was, but the bridges below include the Runcorn Railway Bridge. Obviously that takes the trains across the river, but that was originally named Queen Ethelflaed Viaduct, and we'll go and take a visit there at some point because it's actually a really interesting looking viaduct / bridge. But the point is, it's highly likely she came up here to visit this site to get a bird's eye view of the surrounding countryside, and possibly to rest and plan while resting at a settlement that was up here. I mean, they have found evidence of a settlement, so if you think about it, why wouldn't she? It's a perfect elevated observation post if you're planning any sort of defence or fortification. Okay, so that's it for now for Halton Castle. I hope you enjoyed that. Plenty more to come. I've got 3 waiting to be edited, so hang around and they'll be up very soon. And don't forget to subscribe and like. It really helps me grow the channel. I know we've only just started, but I promise to keep it going and to keep adding more videos as we progress onwards. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.